at 3 a.m. and get in the car.
And we're live.
Wow.
What?
This is the 102nd episode of Game Theory Gang, the first one that's been started on time ever in the history.
Hey
of the show.
now.
Ever.
I think we're all pretty excited. We're hitting the like and subscribe button, and some of us are going to Vegas to do a Pulse Chain tour meetup. That's pretty exciting.
Which one of us ain't like the other?
Yeah. Well, Toby, you going?
And he's gone.
Man, it's going to be a very, very, very last minute decision. Just, what's going on with my folks. It's like I can't really, lock in for something like that, and something goes sideways the day before. But things are going really well right now, knock on wood, and hopefully it will continue that way, and maybe I will see you in Vegas.
All right. Well,
If
Crispy
you're
and
there.
I will be there along with a bunch of other people, and that's really exciting. There was some confusion, because our community works so well together. But I have nothing to do with this event. I'm going as a participant, which is great. I've hosted events myself and in the past, so this is really exciting for me. This is being put on by RG3 and a Wild SJ and Caitlin and
The wild SJ.
Dollar Cost Crypto and Cultivate Crypto. So that's really exciting. And
Is it
I
gonna
don't
be
know
all-
if you guys caught me earlier, but I am doing a double header tonight as a warm up because the energy going into this Vegas meetup is so good.
Sweet.
I didn't see it, but I saw the thumbnail. You streamed with Katie, right?
That's right. We talked all things market psychology, so that's definitely one to check out.
Oh, you got KDP? Awesome. I was hoping that she would do a stream with us, or you. That's cool.
Talking
deal.
about
Very
market psychology, we're all doomed. Look at the markets. We're
Correct.
all doomed.
What happens?
I don't know.
Oh,
Everything looks
really?
red.
Bitcoin didn't continue past its all-time high, so
Yeah,
there's some
bullshit,
some
right?
pullbacks happening.
What's up, 43OG? He just
43.
did his 200th
43.
show,
And
Nice.
Shut it
final
down.
episode.
And
quit while he
sadly
was ahead.
final. Yeah.
but they're not quitting their show. Well, they just ended that show, and they're gonna do other ones. So
Okay,
that's
cool.
cool.
Cool. Yeah, I watched part of it,
wanna say-
that I found very entertaining.
Yeah, I
Thank
made
you
it through.
for
I made it through
inviting-
halfway. Yeah.
Thank you for inviting me on to the show, 43OG. I'm glad I was able to be a part of it.
Yes,
Nice, man.
a voice of reason.
Well,
It was
seeing
fun.
as we don't drag drama,
Nah.
in and out of places, but yeah, there was quite a fiery discussion. So to speak.
There you go. I wouldn't consider it drama. I think it's just, it's kind of like a heated debate amongst family members. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't think that Briz has any ill will toward Tangent or vice versa. I found it very entertaining. I found it interesting to hear both their sides of the topic. And I think it's all right. It's like some people I think just are too ready for something to be labeled drama just because it is at a pitch or a volume that is uncomfortable for them.
There was super disrespectful language being used, so I would definitely categorize it as like unhealthy talk. But the topic was super interesting.
Well, but we can ask Briz. He's right here. It's like, Briz, do you harbor any ill will toward Tangent personally?
Yeah, a little bit.
Maybe a little.
I thought we were
Oh.
steering away. I thought
Okay, well,
Toby
good.
wanted
Okay.
driving the car directly into the oncoming traffic.
No, I think it's
Toby, come on.
I guess it depends on how you grow up. It's like, I know, God rest his soul, my brother and I exchanged many an F-bomb in our lifetimes. But at the end of the day, if push came to shove, it's like we were always there for each other,
Well,
so I kind of look at the Hex community like that too. People.
Maybe
can,
you and your brother agree on E-Hex and P-Hex.
I'd have to get do a seance and reach out to him from beyond the grave.
It's
and
no
see.
contest if you're not using that as the measure of getting along.
Yeah.
43
Okay, so
OG
this was the topic.
says, I think me and Tangent probably have a lot more in common than we don't.
Exactly.
He did a good job moderating.
He
Yes.
did.
I agree. And I think and I think too, just like my little tiny take on it is that I don't think anybody's saying that one needs to die. I think it's just that there are pros and cons for both. And I mean, that's a relatively broadly accepted understanding, I think. I feel like if someone leans hard in the direction of, say, PHEX, then, it's guys like Briz and myself that feel compelled to like show the other side of that argument. Like, hey, there's still a use case for EHEX. There's a reason like we need to see EHEX get to a new all-time high so we can have that chart that shows that it did a second cycle all-time high. And, and that we've been over it and over it. I mean, there's, the ETH guys that have a lot of money and are not as concerned about the gas fees, or are maybe just not as comfortable with, bridging and then the RH ecosystem and Pulse and all that. There's going to be users for both. I have both. I didn't ape from one to the other. I kept both my bags and have been adding to both. So.
Hey, the root of all this stuff, I think, is for me, anyways. When you force this conversation on me, I'm not saying you guys did, but when I feel like I'm getting forced on me, I start going through the stages of grief. All right. And I think other people may be similar. And that means sometimes they're going to fight. Sometimes they're going to give up. They're going to go through all those stages. All right. Try to bargain about the discussion. At the end of the day, for most of us, it's all out of our hands other than the incremental piece that we play, in the whole game.
Fair point.
My solution, because we have 226 people watching live,
Nice.
thousands on the replay. The night is heating up more than usual. My solution for the EHEX and PHEX debate is for Ethereum to lower their gas fees that they raised on
God.
Hex only, writing to disk. So if they could just do that as soon as possible, that'd be great. But yeah, I mean, like, I think it's great to have both groups of people who are like, if you're arguing about Hex is in the conversation. And
Right.
I like having people who like one Hex more than the other. I like having people that like them the same. Like, it's a good situation as long as we don't, as long as we don't repel people because of, but I think at the end of the day, some people like the dramatic presentation. Some people like the more political and buttoned up approach. So either way, it's fine. Is there some like terrible thing happening that we have like so many people tuning in right now?
I think it's because I teased that you might let me show some charts, and people love.
That's
charts.
definitely not it.
Come on, man. Well, there's not like 5 or 10
Definitely
people, like
not
maybe
it.
5 or 10 that came because there might be a chart.
I mean, yeah,
That's all good. Thursdays, I do my charting on Thursdays with What the
I
Heck. So
think
this is not a chart
everyone
show.
just wants to know about ink. Everyone's excited.
maybe it's the thumbnail. Let's go with that.
Everyone's
Yeah.
excited about the number one meme coin.
We
on
can talk
Wall
about
Street.
ink, and then we can talk about the current market volatility that's happening. And there's a protocol that just launched, the one where you do liquid loans except for PulseX.
Oh, the
Tower
barista steakhouse guys.
No,
That one?
Power City, right?
Power
Aren't they
City.
Crispy
doing
probably knows.
Incognito. Power City.
Power City.
Power City. Yeah, that's it.
I thought the steakhouse guys, the Magic Carpet Ride guys, were doing something similar too, or maybe I'm mistaken.
I think the Power City sacrifice was like tens of millions of dollars or something. So that probably is. I mean, they're probably both worthwhile projects to cover, but the one that I think everybody's excited about is,
Earn
probably
protocol,
Power City.
right?
Did that
Right.
did that just launch?
Yeah, like tonight. They launched
Oh, right
tonight.
on. Okay, cool.
And
Yeah, I think-
of course we have a huge
Yeah.
drop in the market, so people are scratching their heads. They're all tuning into Game Theory Gang, like, "Hey guys, what's happening?" And
Fear not.
Dips are in the game. That's what's
Indeed.
happening.
That's right.
And the Hex, and it also could be, isn't the hexfire.io site live?
It
Like
is.
the updated site? maybe
It
there's
is,
some
but
of that going on.
that has nothing to do with the market.
Maybe that drew in as many people as my TATs.
Basically, man, you tanked the market with your website.
Yeah, I doubt it, man.
So we're gonna have a great episode. We're gonna get to all these topics. 330 people watching live now. So let's talk about ink, which I think this is a particularly good panel to do so because you all are like ink Poseidons, and I'm not. So
No.
I think we're gonna
Well-
have some good variety of positions on ink.
Let's put it this way. I'm much less of a ink holder than I once was because most of my ink is in the liquidity pools. So I got to see real time when ink went apeshit, how my liquidity pool sloshed over to Pulse X and Pulse, which is fine because I like those too. But I just ended up, I'm like, wait a minute, I had X number of ink before, and now I have considerably less. But that's the nature of liquidity pools.
Wow.
Yeah, I did something very similar. I was like, you know what? I'm all $5 seems pretty high for ink. I think I'm gonna start a liquidity pool with some of it, and it just kept going up. I was all, son of a bitch.
I knew exactly when to buy more ink. And
Really?
I didn't buy any. Yeah. Well, because I'm hanging around listening to a lot of stuff that Axis is talking about. He even said it on stream, I think, live. That wasn't even purely private stuff. But when it was down to that 50-cent range, he was like, hey, this is the time if you're looking to get ink. And I was like, I got plenty of ink. I don't need it anymore. Because I really don't, I'm not swapper. I'm not normally a swapper. And so I've got exposure, and periodically I get more ink because I've got validating pulse. So I got to do something with it. But otherwise, I just collect ink, from the farms.
Yeah, that's kind of how I am with Pulse and ink. It's like those are probably the two things I've bought. I don't know that I've bought any ink because I'm farming it. So it's like I'm getting it as yield, so I'm earning it, and that's cool, and that's free basically. And then, with Pulse, I'm validating. So I'm getting Pulse. So it's like, so if I'm buying things, I'm looking at eHex, pHex, and Pulse X, and like whatever I think is the best deal at that given moment. But yeah, I mean,
so it's you guys. You guys are the reason. People like you are the reason why ink has done a 10x.
I'm not selling it. I'll tell you
you're
that.
happy to be yield farming. The only people who own this token, not the OA, not anybody who sacrificed in a traditional sense, not Rackham Dumpster, like all these I'm not going to call them problems, but it's a different demographic in ink. Ink is not mentioned by the SEC. Ink is not owned by the OA until it was just bought 70,000 the other day. So people like that narrative, and ink had started abnormally high, I think, because people had seen that it traded for $1,000 a coin on testnet for a sustained period of time. And then, the tokenomics didn't play out like that immediately when it launched. It started at 75, and then it got down to what, 50 cents?
Yeah, all the way to 50. Somewhere around there. It's my understanding one guy is responsible for having pushed that price to $80 to start with. It was one single wallet. And then I have to agree with you on what you said about us being representative of the people that drove it up. So we probably all have different theories, but in the beginning when we talked about it, I was talking about this concept I couldn't quite put my finger on, but it just appeared to me that over time, with people getting out of ink and earning it and selling it and getting out that the people left with the ink who could actually farm it can make a disproportionately amount of ink as compared to somebody just coming in and getting more rewards, to the point that if you have strong enough hands that aren't going to dump the ink, that it's going to be very hard for, like, say, somebody just come in and do Pulse X, get their ink and move the market. It just becomes increasingly harder for that to happen, because like that's what my plan's always been vocal about it. I want yield. I want rewards.
the fact that there's so much liquidity between Inc. and the primary pairs that are incentivized by this yield farm. Like let's step back because we have so many people watching right now. Let's step back and say Inc. is an incentive token that's offered on Pulse Chain for providing liquidity on Pulse, the Pulse X fork of Uniswap. And, because the coin was designed by Richard Hart, and recently Richard has been tweeting about it, calling it a meme coin, it's made it even more popular, and people, have pushed up the price, like we said, 10x in the past few weeks. So that's been the best performing RH asset this year.
Now, Maddie, I'm not one to try to claim credit unless I can absolutely verify it, but I'm fairly certain here on Game Theory Gang, we talked about Inc. as a meme coin prior to Richard's tweet. Yeah. Because, effectively, that's kind of the play until it has some sort of utility.
Yeah.
So maybe Richard's watching and it sparked that in his mind.
The word is out that Inc. is the premier meme coin, but it's ironic that it's being called a meme coin because it actually serves a super important game theoretical purpose of creating farms or creating pools. What would you call it? What is it called here? Inks given to people who are
yield farming.
As an incentive.
Yeah.
Yield farming.
Yeah. So that can incentivize people to bridge in value from Ethereum or provide liquidity in between pairs so that people can get a good deal when they're swapping in between Ethereum and Pulse, in between DAI and Pulse, all these different things. And so we've seen Pulse Chain become an incredibly successful young chain because of the good yield farming like opportunities and the market taking advantage of it. So it's people such as yourselves who are valuing Inc. and valuing this form of earning yield. Some people like earning yield by buying something and holding it and then selling it for a higher price later on. Some people like, getting reward tokens. Some people go for airdrops. Some people yield farm. And so as liquidity providers, you guys are raking in the dough.
Well, Lamont Black, if you remember when he was talking about how, the kind of the yin and the yang or the balance between hex stakers and how that's providing value to those that are holding liquid, it's very, very similar thing, right? It's like, the yield farmers that aren't selling their yield and people that generally are just providing liquidity. It's like those are people that are helping stabilize the system so people are capable of going over if they want to do stuff with their liquid, if they want to sell, if they want to trade, whatever. And then Richard just mentioned about GoPulse. Did you see that tweet where he was saying how it would be nice if, GoPulse, instead of directing people to these third-party dexes, if it was pointed more toward PulseX, where the majority of the liquidity is, because whales want to see thick liquidity. So to kind of like springboard from that, what I would encourage, and we've talked about it a lot here, like I know I've been away for a couple of weeks, but when I was here last, I know for sure we talked about it. The way, I don't know if it was just intuitive and I was doing it already, or the narrative just kind of popped into my mind recently or what, but the way I look at it is the liquidity farms are almost like a meme coin play, right? Insofar as, let's say you buy a meme coin, it does a double. My rule of thumb is if you play around with stuff like that, you sell half. So your principal's off the table, and then you have a moon bag for free. So the way that I look at the liquidity providing, because it can get a little, clunky with impermanent loss, and you can also end up with impermanent gain. But if you're focused too much on that, then it can scare you away from it. Whereas like right now, I just pulled it up to look at it. It's like the DAI Pulse pair is paying 132% APY. So what's that work out to? Like 9 months, where basically you would have as much in ink as dollar value that you put into that yield farm. Yeah. So theoretically, you could have that yield farm for like free and clear to continue to earn forever, and you've effectively gotten your principal back out. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that could be it's free money, and it's like in that I think could encourage people to participate. I mean, if you put in
because you're
$100,000,
being rewarded for creating value, because there's value in people not eating slippage, like whales being able to come in and buy.
Right.
There's so much liquidity. There's like an insane amount of liquidity with ink, particularly,
And you're at risk.
and you're at risk, and so you're getting rewarded
for that
fairly.
risk. Right.
You're at risk of looking cool in front of all your friends.
That's right.
When they find out how much ink
You're
got.
fitting in with Briz. Yeah.
But think about this though. It's
I'm
like
gonna
if-
destroy ink when you guys are done. So
If that's fine, but if everybody is kind of in agreement that we are at the
Earn
cusp
it.
of the bull market, to me it seems like quite possibly the biggest no-brainer ever to provide liquidity, even in the stable pairs, maybe primarily in the stable pairs because the APR is so good. So if you can get basically your principal back out in the form of ink in under a year, I don't think anyone is expecting the bull market to be over in under a year. So theoretically, you could get all your principal back off the table in the form of ink, and then you would have a yield farm paid for a free and clear that could continue to earn all through the next bear cycle into the next bull.
I would say I understand that, and I'm doing some of that, but the impermanent loss is horrendous if you miss the run on those tokens, on the Pulse token, for instance, or the PulseX token. And I did the calcs on it. Pulse Poseidon, Don is one of our admins, created one of those tools in the chat, right? You can go to, I say one of our admins, I mean community admin. And, he's got this calculator, and you can punch right in. This is what the price of Pulse is today. This is the price of ink today. This is what the price of Pulse will be later, and the price of ink. And that was okay. That was kind of okayish because I like both of those. Right. But when I did the stables, I was like, I was like,
Right,
like
but your risk is less because effectively, if you're in a
It is.
stable, you're effectively DCAing out of Pulse, let's say, into a stable as the price of Pulse goes up.
Yeah, it's just it became very real when I saw the percentage differences. I mean, it's huge. Now, it doesn't mean it's a bad play. It just means timing. It means you got to choose. It means you got to decide when it's the right time to do that for you.
Yep.
Like I have a small amount that I have set up as a lever that I did right from the beginning. And so today, for me, I'm not in impermanent loss on mine. Right? Why? Because I did it right when we launched, and ink went down for so long. I just kept getting more and more ink.
Yep.
The way I kind of consider my ink farms, I have a stable farm with PLS. I kind of just look at it like all the PLS and that I stick into this farm is kind of like a black hole for me. I'm like, you know what? Like, I'm expecting to lose all the PLS, and what I want is the yield. So that's how I view it, and that makes me a lot easier to handle the loss of PLS when the price runs up. So that's just kind of the way I'm looking at mine.
But before I ask a question about like whether you guys would recommend or not recommend it to certain people, I really want to ask the chat, because I'd love to pretend that we normally have 583 people watching live, but I want the chat to say, why are you here? Like, are you here for Power City talk? Are you here for Ink talk?
Did you see
Toby
me beat up
charts.
Tangent?
Yeah, there's got to.
Are you here for the tangent
something.
drama? Are you here for Xfire
like,
IO?
We're like
you should do a
3x
poll.
the normal viewers, at least.
Can you do a poll?
Or
is that
so?
Cumbersome?
Yeah, like just comment why you're here, or maybe it's like a bot army from Russia or something. So, okay, cool. And then as we continue, you guys are dropping great insight into Ink before I give a counterpoint to it.
Yeah, before you do that, I do want to add one thing. I think it's kind of like anything. It's like you got to look at your portfolio and how you want to weight various pieces of it, right? It's like, I don't know that anyone in this on the screen right now or even in the chat is all in one RH token. you know, it's like, it's how do you have it broken up? For me personally, it's like I'm using less than 10% of my total portfolio in dollar value in yield farming. Now, because the yield is so fantastic, is it tempting for me to maybe rotate some other stuff into it? Certainly. However, I understand that the long-term benefits, and from my perspective, for a hex staking ladder and even restaking my liquid hex that's coming out soon, makes more sense for me as far as like a stable long staking ladder. So I think it's like 80% of my stuff is hex staking, whether it's p hex or e hex,
Okay.
and 10% is liquidity farming.
And who like if you guys were recommending for certain people to do ink farming and certain people not to do it, who would you tell that to?
Well, it's all proportional, right? Because I had someone the other day, I was telling them that, like, my mom just, you know, I broadcasted on Twitter. My mom brought in, you know, a significant amount of capital to participate in the markets. And part of that she is yield farming with, right? So, you know, someone asked me, it's like, well, hey, if she's earning that much, it's like, do I need to do that much? I'm like, no, it's percentages. You could put in $500 and it's like, you know, the APY is the APY. You know, so I mean, you don't have to put in thousands of dollars to earn, you know, that percentage, right? So
Tobiwan, you are one of the best onboarders in the entire crypto space.
My mom's a baller, dude. It's like she's easy.
Yeah, I'm not just talking about that, but in general,
Yeah.
you
Thanks.
go above and beyond to help people with crypto, and so I'm very impressed that you got your mother into yield farming.
Yeah, and she's got a treasure, and she's doing it all the right way, you know. And it's like I've got three new onboards just this past couple of weeks where I've sat down with them one-on-one and did the whole thing, proper security, the whole deal. So yeah, I mean, I think that that's something too that people just need to focus on now. And I'm sure you guys too you're probably getting phone calls from people you haven't heard from for a while, like, hey, you know, what was that crypto thing that you were telling me about? You know, so it's like, so definitely the interest is coming back, and it's fun. I mean, I enjoy onboarding, and it's, you know, I like
Four calls this week. I'll tell you what I think, Maddie. I don't think ink farming is for new people. They can do what they want. I mean, it's open to them. They do whatever they want. It's DeFi. But if you were saying, hey, what would you recommend? I would be recommending people go set up a hex ladder, because that's how I think, and what I'm after. And as I've mentioned many times, I wouldn't be doing this at all if I didn't end up with these tokens through happenstance that I caused by getting involved, right? That's why I got them. But that being the case, yeah, that's where we want to go. You know, I would do that. And in fact, I think farming for me is a secondary or tertiary thing. Like, I'm already all set. Like, I don't need to worry about my rent. And I don't need to be worrying about getting out of crypto to pay my rent. And so, yeah, it's that kind of level. And of course, when people find it, it's when they're ready. I think maybe, you know, they get to that point.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way. I kind of got like two minds about it, to where I kind of feel like you need to have your other bags packed before thinking about jumping into yield farming first. So, you know, you should definitely have your core assets button up and, you know, have some of that stuff going. You know, and then the other part of me goes, you know, someone jumping in with like $500, like, yeah, that sounds cool, but you know, you got to wait an entire year to maybe earn another $500. And I don't know, it just doesn't really seem worth it for the smaller players. But again, at the same time, like I said, I have two different minds. I kind of think it's a good idea if every Pulsican provided, like, you know, 3 to 5% of their portfolio into the yield farming, because that helps provide liquidity and it helps make the entire ecosystem more robust.
I like that concept. That's kind of similar to what Toby was saying about how V2 liquidity and in this case farming needs to be visible, because for any of the tokens we're supporting, because when we remove the liquidity out of V2, not everybody sees all the other liquidity pools. We know that there's 9mm and P-Hawks and this stuff, but everybody else doesn't know. And if they just go simply look at pulse chain or even deck screener, they just miss the totals completely.
Right. Yeah, and Briz, something to consider too, and this was kind of part of my point in being at the cusp of the bull market. If you noticed on the yield farm percentages, and I was looking at this because, you know, my mom was wanting to get into one of the stable farms. And at the time we were looking at it, just like less than a week ago, or about a week ago, they were around 100%, 95 to 100%, somewhere in that range. Well, if you notice now, they're like 130. At one point I saw them up to like 100, over 150%. Well, that was because of the value of the ink. So your yield is not based on the dollar value. Your yield is based on, you get a certain number of ink. So ink's going to do what it's going to do. So, you know, that person, like in your example, that, you know, they would have to wait a year if it was 100% APY to get their $500 back. Yes and no. If we go back to all-time high on ink, that's what, a 12x away, 15x away. So they would be getting a 15x over that $500, right? Because their ink would be going up.
I am extremely bullish in this moment right now because I feel like we've never had 682 people watching live, and that seems really like, I don't think it's just there's a meetup going on in Vegas or crypto mindset just got out, or, you know, I think the entire crypto space is super bullish. I think that we're at a critical turning point for the RH ecosystem. There's lots of theories and speculation that we can get into in our 2-hour show tonight. I want to hear your guys' price targets for ink. I want to know, people in the chat, do you hold ink? Whether you yield farmed it or you bought it outright, do you believe ink is a meme coin? Does it have great utility? Tell me the bull case for it.
So, you know, the first year, since ink produces one every second, that's 86,400 a day, about 31.5 million a year. There's not going to be that many ink relative to like other coins, right? It's kind of like similar to Bitcoin. So, you know, if we really take off in this bull run, I mean, I could easily see anywhere between $50 and $1,000 for ink, in my opinion. Just because of the scarcity factor of it. And, you know, depending on the halvening tokenomics of it, it could go much higher, you know, in the future. So I don't know. I think it could go pretty high. And also, if a lot more farmers start providing liquidity, that means all the remaining farmers are going to be getting less ink. So it's going to be more dispersed, which could allow less selling pressure. And then it, you know, could make the price go up quite a bit.
Crispy and I like brought up the same exact screen at the same exact time. I just want to prove it by showing that's my screen. And this is, wait.
Yeah, you show yours. It's good.
Okay. All right. I'll zoom in, but you actually created this.
I did. Yes. Yeah. Rags was looking for this, and then he and Axis Alive were thinking the same thing at the same time about this. I've got some other changes coming in, but it's just a visualization of where we are with supply and what the annualized inflation looks like between Bitcoin and ink over time. So yeah, more to come on this. This assumes that we get the Bitcoin halving, so like that with like normal, but that the flow of ink does not stop. Now, there have been rumors, persistent rumors, that beyond the idea that ink only comes out 1 per second, and therefore the inflation goes down, there have been persistent rumors that somehow in May there's going to be a halvening event. And it is possible that happens, but it would require the devs to do something to make that happen.
Okay, because I thought I had heard at one point that there is a YAMS governance protocol built into Ink. I know that there was some game theory before Ink ever released. There were some chats where people were proposing different inflation schedules. And I believe the linear inflation schedule without halvings is what made it in. And then people get the misperception because when you double the amount of time the ink has existed, you double the supply. So that's can be confused for a halving. But apparently, if there is some master chef contract or some governance thing built in, there could be a change in the supply. We've also said on this show that the origin address could start providing liquidity, or buying ink to, adjust the rewards for people providing liquidity and bridging in. Now, that's part of the reason why I wanted to bring up ink at all today. I mean, other than it's doing really well and all that good kind of stuff. But my question is, and this really gets into some deep game theory, I think. Do you see a situation where Ink would have to have a ceiling in order to not outshine Hex, or would all of the positive sums of that end up making it worthwhile for Ink to run forever? Like, if Ink runs up to Brisology's target of $50 per coin or $1,000 per coin, wouldn't that make the LP rewards insane, like 1,000% a year? And
Sure.
wouldn't that incentivize a massive amount of liquidity? And wouldn't that change like some of the price dynamics?
If I could just comment on
way.
that one little part real quick.
Sure.
I believe that by time Ink were to get say $500 each, we would have so much liquidity being provided that people would be lucky to be able to earn one whole Ink a day.
Okay, so the system would correct itself
I
in
think
the
so.
sense that the ink would get spread out.
Yeah, I think so.
Would
I
be
think
your
it would
prediction.
be a
It would also be harder for the price to move. So if the price of everything that's being incentivized was already high through Hart's law, wouldn't that mean that it would be hard for the price to dump if it had already been ratcheted up so high? I think that's like the mega bullish scenario, like people have talked about in like Hex or in any coin. Like if you if you have the price rising naturally super high and then you increase the liquidity, it's the same as if you increase the liquidity when the price was low and the price can't move up, but in reverse.
Well, and the liquidity is a function of the price of the assets in the pool, right? So it's like, you can be looking at something and say like, oh, hey, it's like that has, it had $10,000 worth of liquidity last week and now it's got 100,000. Well, the price 10x. So it's like, did that much more new capital come into the situation, or was it just the math, right? So, like for example, like I just looked over at the Ink pairs, the Ink Pulse and Ink Pulse X pair. They both have around $41 to $43 million in liquidity currently.
Yeah, did you see what Scotty had just posted, Toby? This is a point
I was going to mention Scotty and Duhawks, man. Those are two of the guys that I have the most respect for in the community. Both very, very intelligent gentlemen. Happy to have them as internet friends. And I see them both pretty active in the chat there. I
was also thinking, what if eventually, maybe at the top of the market, when people want to sell the most, what if Richard opens up a single-sided staking for PLSX, and people who do that also receive a portion of the Ink rewards? That would bring down the rewards for all the farmers and spread it out amongst a lot more people too.
Well, I think that's kind of what Scotty's getting at is with ink value being higher, there's a lot more that it can be used for, right? In different pools and maybe even for some other use I can't contemplate as a reward token or for something else. Who knows? But the idea being that right now, before this price bump, it would have been difficult to split the ink and maintain levels, right? Maintain interest in farming.
Yeah, and as far as the price prediction, to me it seems like a no-brainer that we would at least get back to the previous all-time high. That was already happened this cycle. I think 80 is well within reach.
I thought of
Okay,
some,
update. So I think we're going viral on Twitter because there's 170 people watching on YouTube and 600
Mom.
people watching on Twitter. So maybe
Sweet.
they tweaked their
Hi
algorithm in our
X.
favor.
Hi X.
Thanks, Elon.
I like Elon.
Love you.
give me my pulse
Sorry, go
badge
ahead.
back.
Yeah.
Give me
Yeah,
my pulse
right.
badge. I mean, well,
I have
Maddie,
some-
I might be responsible for this then because I did tweet the show. So.
I have
mean,
some game theory on
Keeps
why
going up.
maybe
There's
ink
800
is
people watching.
pumping.
So all your
That's awesome.
best ideas, please bring
I
them.
got
to
game
the-
theory. You want to hear some
to the
game
front.
theory?
Let's hear it.
We're just gonna
Let's go.
talk over you, Bruce.
I know. We're going to talk about
Go
how many
ahead.
people
Go
are
ahead.
watching over. Anyways, so I think this actually might be a little bit dangerous alpha game theory. I should probably not say it because it might mess up the big guys' game theory plans. You know what I mean? Like, you know how like when we all discovered the 50 weeks shakeout? Well, if all the people start realizing that, maybe they won't get shaken out. Maybe it takes 100 weeks and we start messing up the overall plans.
I've thought
but-
about this deeply. So go on. This is a good topic.
But I have an idea that I was thinking about. I'm like, what would I do if I had control of the OA funds? And you know what I would do is I would start pumping the crap out of ink. And that way I can maybe get some of the guys who sacrificed for PLSX that maybe don't really quite believe in it. Maybe I can get them to go start candle chasing and they'll sell their PLSX into ink. That's, they're going to sell something that is not even at sack rate for something that just pumped 13x. Horrible trade. But when they do it, maybe eventually I'll stop pumping ink and maybe I'll go pump PHEX. And now these same guys, they're going to go chasing after the PHEX, right? And they're probably going to sell more PLSX to go into that one. And then maybe I'll start pumping PLS and then eventually pump PLSX. And once you do that, you really shake out all the people who are candle chasing. So, in my opinion, I see a lot of people selling PLSX for ink. I've seen 20 billion PLSX being sold for 200,000 ink. That was $1 million buy. I saw it on the Twitter pulse alerts, and it's like you got to shake some of these guys out, and if you can kind of get them running around in circles as you pump everything up, I think that might be a pretty good game theory.
Well, the origin address has recently been linked to some super interesting activity on Ethereum, and of course, in the creation of Pulse Chain and Pulse X, there was this sacrifice, and that represented people who believe in freedom of speech, blockchain is protected speech, and all these great ideals. People just sent crypto to an address, and that crypto, we have no expectations of it, and it just sat there for a couple of years. Some of it got turned into stable coins. And then recently, these stable coins, $600 million of which has started flying around and like executing some master plan. And I think we're just starting to see what the master plan is, which is super exciting. But I'll remind you for a second that the same funds, so the same stable coins, stopped a depegging in the middle of last year when there was a bank failure in crypto. And we started to lose the peg of USDC, right? And so this sacrifice address ended up holding up the entire market by strategically basically repegging all the stable coins and buying them for 10 cents off, 15 cents off. And so this wasn't just a situation where stablecoins depegged because banks were failing and somebody made $1 million or $4 million off the trade. This was like a systemic problem that could have spread throughout crypto and threatened the future of crypto. And the Pulse Chain sacrifice address saved the day. And so the question is, what happens next? And you saw KDP reporting that there was activity within the MakerDAO. And so certain influencers kind of may have like jumped the gun, assuming that the origin address was trying to earn 5% APY so that they could pump your bags, like buy coins from the ecosystem. But it's also possible that there's some sort of like DAO governance play going on where if basically the MakerDAO is what controls the DAI stablecoin. And so if the origin address already has a 15% vote and makes its way to 50%, it could potentially control that DAO and cause it to come to Pulse Chain, making Pulse Chain the only place to where the main activity is happening with low fees. So I see this as something that could be some super long game theory. We heard Richard Hart hinting before that he had a super secret awesome plan for stablecoins that he couldn't talk about. And, we've seen him talk about how dumb DAOs are and that he would like to prove that maybe through this move. So.
I saw something about someone posted about using SDAI to use as votes to make Pulse Chain a native to put
exactly.
native coins.
And why is that so valuable?
Because then we'd have a large stable coin on Pulse Chain.
Yeah,
But
because stable coins, just like the main topic of tonight that we've been talking about, Inc., why is liquidity providing such a valuable thing? Toby touched on it. It's because it proves the price of something. When you have a V2 liquidity pool, it's solving the problem of decentralized exchange. The biggest problem we have in finance is manipulation of markets and market makers lying about things and the rigged Ponzi stock market, kind of like screwing people over. In this system, you have to prove the price of something by letting people take either side of the trade in a decentralized smart contract. And so people need to be rewarded in order to take that risk of proving what the price of two things are, especially when it comes to stablecoins, and it's that interchangeability that gives something a price. It gives a price ratio that that's a major mechanism of how crypto works. And so if people are super excited about that because they like the utility of crypto, or they just like the meme, it's like better than a dog, it's an INC, like right.
Well, and I think this goes back to like a narrative that's been going on since before Pulse even launched, which was, what's the smartest way for the OA or the SAC address to be deployed, right? Mm-hmm. So there was talk about them pairing with a bunch of PRC20s to bolster the liquidity for those pairs. Because of what was going on in the markets, it was shown that was maybe not the best use of funds because, people were just going to basically come over and dump and then take that energy back across to Ethereum. Same thing is going on now. It's like these funds are being moved around, I think, in very intelligent ways. There's also a Spark airdrop for the SDAI that he's acquired. So that's going to be, who knows how much capital is going to be produced that way. I talked about this briefly. I hopped onto the F and Hangout for the first time in forever on Friday, and I clipped it up and actually got quite a lot of traction on Twitter in my takes on it. And my thinking is like, hey, it's kind of sort of like a vampire attack on Ethereum, right? Because you're earning yield over on Ethereum, and then where is that likely to go? That's very likely to come back over to help bolster Pulse Chain. And then people are like, oh, well, that's only $2 million a month. Like, that's nothing. That's not going to, it's like, no, that's not the point. The point is people like green candles. So you just got to start the fire, right? And then when the green candles happen, it's like, then others are going to flood in, and then they're going to take it the rest of the way. The OA and those SAC funds by themselves are even as it stands, are not enough to do what we want to happen, right? It's like if they're sprinkled in at the right times and the right ways, and then if he's actually growing it and has all these ancillary benefits, whether it's voting rights or an airdrop with Spark token or the yield itself that's generated over on ETH and being able to bring it back across, those are all super smart moves in my opinion. So I'm really excited to see that it's being utilized. You
guys have done such a good job in 102 episodes of convincing me to get into Pulse Chain. And now we have 1,000 people who are they're watering at the mouth. They're saying, you guys have sold us. We believe Richard Hart is innocent, super genius, benevolent, going to be the biggest thing in crypto, already is in some ways. So now the people are wondering, how can they buy Pulse Chain? They're ready.
GoPulse.com, Hex Scout. There's so many different opportunities to do it
Craigslist.
now. Yeah, Craigslist is what
I think there was some liquidity for Pulse on Ethereum, but I think that's dried up now, right? So you can't.
Yeah, I saw that too.
You can't buy it
Oh, good point. Yeah, so just buying it on Ethereum doesn't make the most sense. For me, when I want to buy Pulse, what I do is I take dollars in my bank account, I put it onto Coinbase. I take it from Coinbase and send it to my MetaMask wallet, understanding that that's self-custody and that's something I need to be responsible for myself. Never sharing my seed phrase with anyone, even if they're trying to scam me. Imposters abound. But so I'm sending Ethereum to my MetaMask wallet that I control, and then I'm going to bridge.pulsechain.com. Never Googling that. I have to go straight to the website or go to pulsechain.com. And I guess today it was reported that MetaMask now supports Pulse Chain as a native drop-down option. But there was some confusion.
Just added the logo, right?
No, there was confusion because different people were reporting different things, and it became apparent that it depended on what version you were running.
Oh, what
and
browser?
Usually
rollout.
Yeah. So this is great news. It's not just the logo. It's depending on what version of MetaMask you're running, the newer one has it built in according to gopulse.com. And they're
because I checked my MetaMask and it was not in my drop-down menu yet. So,
and I was having some trouble with MetaMask recently to where I couldn't open up my wallet, and I discovered a trick in Chrome. You can go and you can update the MetaMask extension by clicking on the puzzle piece and then going to manage extensions. And then you have to click turn on developer mode. And then it'll allow you to update MetaMask. And that caused me to be able to access my MetaMask again when it was getting stuck at the splash screen.
It's really funny, because with everything popping up and like ChrispyMan said, he got 4 phone calls this week of people hitting him up. Same here. I was actually helping out a friend set up their hardware wallet and install MetaMask last night, and we had to manually input it, even though I had them download the latest version. And I just thought that was kind of funny that, I had to manually input it, and the very next morning they implement it. Shit, I was going somewhere with that, and I lost track of thought.
Which browser do you recall, Briz?
I think he was using Brave browser.
Brave, okay.
But the thing was they were updating the MetaMask pretty much in real time, and like when he installed the MetaMask, it had like this pink receiving button at the top, and it said, and I was just like, what the heck is this? I'm like, dude, I think you downloaded a freaking malware MetaMask.
Oh no.
Well, it's just because they were like doing a little bit of the the GUI updates, the graphical user interface.
Yeah.
And so it just kind of freaked me out. I'm like, dude, you gotta delete that. Almost see, this is why you use your hardware wallet. If you would have put your seed words into that MetaMask, all your funds would have been gone right now. Aren't you glad I got you hooked up with this hardware wallet? But it turns out it was just, MetaMask, and it had new buttons that I just wasn't familiar with.
So yeah, to simplify it for people, you're typically, so Coinbase.com, you're buying Ethereum. If you're wanting to do like thousands and thousands of dollars, it's cheaper to buy USDC and a little bit of ETH, and then bridging the USDC has an advantage because you're not paying Coinbase to swap.
Can I tell you my favorite way to get money into the Pulse chain?
Is it operational right now for the people watching?
You can make an account.
Okay. Well, I don't want to send people to something that's not working right now.
Well, it's going to be back up very, very soon.
Okay, all right.
Temporary short
yes,
back
please.
with their banking partners.
Oh, the OX Coast, yeah.
Yeah, 0x Coast. I think that is honestly the absolute best way to onboard. And so, you just sign up with them. You link up your bank account. Everything's FDIC insured, and you can take your bank account and go directly from your bank onto the Pulse chain into PLS.
Unfortunately, that's a dead end right now. So like
anywhere between a 1% and 4% fee. So
yeah. So the cheapest way to get in that works right now is to do USDC on Coinbase with a little bit of Ethereum. Send it to yourself using metamask.io in your Chrome browser, and then go to the website gopulse.com/buy, or you can go to pulsechain or bridge.pulsechain.com, and then you're going to bridge it over, and that typically takes about 15 to 20 minutes after you initiate the transaction. And it typically, with Ethereum's high fees right now, it costs about $50, $30 to $50 to bridge it over. But then a bot is going to send you 1,000 free Pulse tokens so you can get started. And then you're able to swap using various websites such as pulsex.com.
A few things to consider with USDC. Because of Coinbase's partnership with them, that is how you can get that with no slippage and no fee. If you are buying USDC on Gemini, I learned this the hard way. Depending on what you're buying, there actually is some slippage there. So you are actually going to lose a little bit of money by buying USDC on Gemini, whereas with Coinbase, it's free. So you're literally converting dollar for dollar. And then also, I'm a proponent of Coinbase. I think, unfortunately, that's the best option currently. The fees are cheaper than they are on OX Coast. I like OX Coast. Hopefully they get their stuff worked out soon. It's nice to be able to go directly to Pulse Chain. And like Maddie was saying, depending on what you're doing, you want to do primarily USDC just because you're avoiding the fee, and then a little bit of ETH because you're going to need the gas money, right? And then the other piece of that is how you get your money onto USDC. If timing is a factor, if you're not concerned as much, you can link a bank account. The thing that has changed, I noticed on Coinbase, I'm not sure when this change occurred. It used to be about a 3 to 5 day hold from an ACH before you could move it off to a MetaMask wallet or an Ethereum wallet. Now it's 10 days. So if you're in a hurry,
well, it varies depending on
it can be a
your
little
own risk profile.
Right.
Your
so
bank.
Exactly. So it can. So mine was 10 days. It actually became available in 8, which was nice. When I did an ACH, and with wires, it's available immediately, but you're going to have a fee, from your bank to wire that in, and then Coinbase also has a $10 fee on their side. So depending on how much money you're moving, it can be a significant percentage. If you're doing $500 and you're going to spend $40 to wire it and another $10 on Coinbase's side, then you've effectively paid a 10% fee. So if you're doing, tens of thousands of dollars, then it's not as consequential. The other thing is you can link a PayPal account, but off the rip, I believe it's 7% that they ding you for. If you try to use PayPal, the nice part about it is it's kind of like a wire where you can move that. You can convert to USDC and Ethereum and move that to a Ethereum wallet immediately. So ACH, you're going to have a waiting period of some length of time. Wire is going to be faster, but it's going to cost you a little bit. PayPal, it's as fast as a wire, but the fees, it's a percentage. So just be aware of those things before you start clicking buttons. Lastly, on Gemini, there is a basic trading function when you're purchasing USDC or Ethereum, and then there's advanced trading. Be sure you're using advanced trading because the fees are significantly less. If you're using the basic trading function, they make it easy for you, but you're getting dinged like 3%. So, and then lastly, on OX Coast, once they get their things up and running again, there's a way to mitigate their fees by staking weight token. It can actually reduce the fees that you have to pay.
I think we're getting way too complicated for the thousand new people.
But if someone clips it, then that's a good little bit of information to go back through and listen to carefully.
Is Pulse Chain available on Change now?
Yes.
Oh shit.
Yeah,
Seriously?
so you can do cross chain swaps with Change Now directly into Pulse, which is pretty cool.
Is it a good rate?
Yeah, I think so. I believe so. I've used it a couple times.
I love Change Now.
I do too. I think it's a great service. You can also, in my opinion, you can kind of use it as a mixer service if you don't mind paying the small fee, because you can put you can say, all right, I'll send you this asset, send me back this asset, and you can make the address that you send it back to completely different from the one that you send it from. So FYI, if anyone wants to launder money. Just kidding.
Hey,
Just kidding. Ha ha ha.
Hey,
no,
I see
don't
Chris.
do that.
Yeah, that's silly.
Brisology. Please
He's joking.
don't get me in trouble.
Sorry.
So there's Chris Brune in here. I don't know if he's joking, but he's referring to Robinhood. I wasn't aware that you could actually send off of Robinhood to a self-custodied wallet. So Chris Brune, is that true? Or am I misinterpreting your comment about Robinhood?
It is true.
It is true. So you can actually buy on Robinhood and then you can transfer that to a Ethereum wallet.
Yeah, baby.
All right,
I'm
right
always-
on. That's new then. That you used to not be able to do that. Everything was on and off just with Robinhood in your bank back in the day.
Yeah. I listen, I get why I don't want to put a lot on Robinhood, and because I don't want to be censored. I don't want, suddenly to not be able to access my funds, but it is another avenue, right, that's out there.
So I'm seeing on Change Now they have like a maximum. You can only do a maximum of like 0.2 ETH, and so I think with these 1,200 people watching, like I kind of feel a responsibility to just do a quick run through of just showing you on screen basically what it looks like to get Pulse, because we obviously have new people here. They're interested. They want to play and do well in crypto. So like,
welcome new people. Welcome.
Yeah, welcome.
I'm going to metamask.io and I'm installing MetaMask, which I've already done in this case. And I'm writing down my 12 seed words, not sharing them with anybody. That's all happening at metamask.io. And then I'm going to coinbase.com. And I'm not going to bring that up on screen for fear of doxing myself, but you basically upload your ID just like you would if you're starting a bank account. So that's normal. Coinbase is a trusted US institution, more or less.
More or less.
Right, because crypto is about not trusting middlemen, but you need an on and off ramp. And so so now that I have this this wallet loaded, actually I'm gonna have to share my whole screen in order to show you my MetaMask popping up. So I'm going to do that here, share screen, entire screen. And so when I open my MetaMask wallet, oh, I have to, there we go. So my MetaMask is showing up here in the extensions toolbar, and I have a new account here, and I need to copy it to my clipboard and then put that address into Coinbase and send Ethereum to this address, and then we'll do the bridge to Pulse Chain. So I'm going to do that now, and then we'll check back in a few minutes once that transaction has gone through, and then we'll walk people through exactly how it is that you can get your money onto Pulse Chain and buy the thing that we're so excited about.
Now, if I remember correctly, Crypto Coffee had a really good example vid stream on that. And maybe if somebody can grab the link. I can go look too.
Do you guys remember Hexos with his baby? That was one of the best ones.
Oh yeah,
I loved it because it was so simple, and it was and it was super short, and it was literally go to Coinbase, go to MetaMask, click, and then it was great. I love that one.
Yeah, and that's going to onboard people into crypto, which is really the first step in doing this Pulse Chain buy.
And then also something that I would be remiss if I did not say this, especially being friends with Papa. If you're gonna use MetaMask, do it on a computer that you're using only for crypto. Otherwise, you really need to look into the use of a hardware wallet.
Yeah, if you're doing thousands of dollars, you want to use a special device that you can order from the link in the description below, so that you're using the same one that I use that I've had really good luck with. And that's Trezor.io. Let's see. So I haven't noticed a bridge fee, although that said that it would be turned back on, but that's kind of a minimal 0.3% anyway.
Not yet.
So Ethereum has been on a rip. So has Bitcoin. Crypto has come back to life now that Bitcoin tapped the previous all-time high of 69K and then fell back a little bit. Institutions are buying through the ETF, and I think that's what's got everybody tuning into crypto now. Thank God X/Twitter, they've adjusted their algorithm to put our stream in front of an extra 1,000 people tonight. That is much appreciated because crypto has not always gotten a fair shake when it comes to social media.
That's a fact. So Maddie,
a lot of people have learned from Crypto Coffee 369 on YouTube.
Yeah, Coffee's got some great content. Maddie, to recap, just to summarize, open a Coinbase account, do the KYC, which is know your customer. That's standard. It's a US-based company. Have that to bring in your fiat, convert some of that fiat to USDC, convert a small amount of it to Ethereum because you're going to need that to pay gas fees, set up a MetaMask account, and then you're going to copy your public address from the MetaMask account that you've set up, and you're going to send from Coinbase to that address, and that's step one. Then you're going to want to go to pulsechain.com, and from there you can choose the link to the bridge. I always, instead of giving people other URLs, I just always go to pulsechain.com, and you can go to the bridge, you can go to the DEX, everything from there, so you know that you're safe, pulsechain.com. Go to the bridge, and then from there you can bridge from your MetaMask wallet over to the same MetaMask address, but on the Pulse Chain. And then all the RPC settings are on pulsechain.com as well, or it's available in certain browsers on MetaMask now as an option to have Pulse Chain as the chain of choice. Is that a fair summary?
Yep.
Cool.
And
I'm not always long-winded. I'm not always giving too much information.
Breezy Bird. Shut up, Toby. Just joking. Breezy Bird says Xerox Co said they're going to return within 2 to 3 weeks. So that's pretty awesome.
What's up, Weezy?
I really like Xerox because I've been really happy with their service. So I really, they're, I don't know. I think it's a great service, and I really appreciate them doing it.
Yep. I'm a fan
I
as
know.
well.
I don't even know how they even got that even accomplished. To allow
It's a lot of
banks
work.
to allow their CST coin to be traded back and forth.
It's a
That's
lot
an
of
accomplishment.
Respect.
accountants and attorney fees. That's a lot of that.
Now, the Ethereum that I sent from Coinbase has already arrived here.
Sweet.
So I'm going to go back to sharing my screen, the entire screen, so that you can see the MetaMask pop-ups. And apologies if you don't have the ability to zoom in, but I will verbally describe what I'm doing. So I can see that the Ethereum transaction went through, and I can see in my MetaMask wallet that I've got $500 of ETH that just showed up. And so now I can go to pulsechain.com and I would add PulseChain to MetaMask if it was not already added by clicking this button here. And then I would click on the bridge link, and that's going to take me to bridge.pulsechain.com. Then I'm going to click on this IPFS link, which looks a little weird, but it checks out. Bridge.mypinata.cloud
I wish
is
they would
basically
change. I
a
wish they
more
would
secure
change.
way.
I wish they would change that little tab that says mypinata.cloud to just like go
Start.
here to StakeX
Yeah.
or go here to see the bridge.
Are you're seeing my screen now? Good.
Yes.
And then I'm clicking connect wallet. I'm clicking MetaMask. It's popping up in MetaMask to ask me if I want to connect to this account. I say yes. And now the Pulse Bridge, it just got updated recently, so it looks like it's working flawlessly. So I can click on the asset type here, and then I can click Ethereum, and there's the Ethereum that showed up in my wallet. Now I can't just click the max button as far as I know. I have to do a little bit less than the max because I'm going to have to pay a transaction fee for the bridge. So I'm going to guess that I could do 0.125 of the 0.14, and it'll tell me if I don't have enough funds for the fee, but I'm going to do a little bit less than the max. And typically the bridge fee, no matter how much Ethereum I'm bridging over, would be maybe around 0.01 to 0.02 Ethereum, which is 1 to 2% of an Ethereum. And so I'm going to see if this works by clicking the send button. Now what I'm doing is I'm sending the Ethereum from the Ethereum network to my own wallet on the Pulse Chain network. And so I'm going to click the send button here. And then I have to click again, send here. It's showing me that the bridge fee is 0 currently.
Thank you, Richard Hart.
And wow, it is a $64 fee right now. The Pulse Chain network is badly needed, in order to fix this. And
What are you talking about? That's just the price of business. It's
at the
so
same
cheap
time,
on Ethereum.
at the same time, it is in between 1 and 2% here. But I think it calculates a little bit higher. So I'm going to drop this down to 0.12 and see if it'll go through. There we go. All right, so now I can hit confirm. It's what I said earlier was that I expected in between a $30 and a $50 fee. Right now, because the network is busy, it's a $60 fee. So I went ahead and I don't know if I ever told you guys about the first time I bought Ethereum.
No, tell us.
I only bought one, and it was $12.50. And I paid a $7.50 fee.
No way. That's hilarious.
Yeah. But it worked out in the end.
Yeah, right.
So no guarantees. But basically what we're seeing now is there needs to be 96 block confirmations, and it's counting up automatically right now. And
What was your
so
reasoning for buying 1 ETH at $12?
there was an article that there was going to be the first DAO ever, and it was in The Economist magazine. And that was the DAO that ended up getting hacked. So I'm glad I didn't follow all the instructions. So that's kind of
Nice.
funny history, but yeah, I still have that 1 Ethereum somewhere.
Being saved
Okay.
through procrastination. Congratulations.
somewhere.
That's right. Yeah, I got rich by holding. Well, not rich. But
No, you
whatever.
didn't get wrecked by acting too fast.
What am I up like 2000x on that, or 200x, something cool? So this bridge, it's gonna go automatically, so I can watch it count up, or I can just switch over to Pulse Chain. And so I'll do that now. I'm gonna switch networks by clicking on MetaMask, and then up here in the top left, it shows that I'm on Ethereum mainnet. I can click that and drop down and choose Pulse Chain. What a beautiful logo there next to Pulse Chain. So I'm clicking Pulse Chain, and I can
Best
see
logo in crypto.
1,000 PLS has already shown up, which was gifted basically by a tool that the community built. And that's going to sometimes allow me to do multiple transactions or part of a transaction for free to get started, because I don't have any Pulse with which to buy more Pulse yet.
Don't we have the best community ever? Look at that. They built a tool that automatically
love it.
puts some Pulse into your wallet.
I love it.
so you
It's
can
incredible.
immediately- Yeah.
And so the other thing I can do here is, if I'm getting nervous that it's been too long, it's not been too long yet, but if I was nervous and I had already switched over to Pulse Chain, I can go up here to the transactions button. I can click on that, and it'll show the transaction that's still processing, and it shows me that there's 13 of 96 confirmations. So this is how I'm getting my Ethereum onto Pulse Chain. Now I can already look ahead to the next step, which is I can go to pulsex.com, keep it simple for everybody, just going off of things that are on the pulsechain.com. And I can click on the trading app button, and I can click on the My Pinata link here that should just say start. And now it's loading up the PulseX exchange, where I can click and find wrapped Ethereum and add that to my wallet, so I'll know when it shows up. So I click the little MetaMask fox there next to the asset, and I can add the token, which still shows 0, but it'll show up soon. And now I've got everything I need to wait another 5 or 10 minutes, and then I'm going to be able to swap my wrapped Ethereum for Pulse or Ink or Pulse X or PHEX, whatever my heart desires. And instead of paying $100 per swap, I'll be paying pennies. So we're going to let that cook.
Or Hex from Ethereum. You can buy that on the Pulse chain as well, so you're not paying
love
gas
it.
fees to buy it. And with 0 bridge fees, you can bridge it back across and stake it on the Ethereum side if you so choose.
Beautiful.
So I just want to say, I've been running with the whole thing about Ink is the #1 meme coin on Pulse Chain, and I like saying it because I think it upsets people like B Roots, and it upsets my little buddies over at the Tang Gang.
Yeah,
when
two
you
seem
say
pretty triggered
Ink
by
is
that.
the #1 meme coin, because it is. But in my opinion, I really don't see Ink as a meme coin, but more of a rewards coin. Because when I think meme coin, I'm just thinking it's a useless, do-nothing coin that's just a store of value. That to me is basically a meme coin. It's just like it's a coin with a picture on it. So I believe the ink is actually way more important than a meme. It's it's a rewards. It's part of the nourishment of the whole ecosystem. It helps bring in money into the system.
Now we have somebody here that's pointing out the best onboarding method, the best route to choose if you're a millionaire, if you're buying millions of dollars or maybe even hundreds of thousands of dollars of Pulse Chain or PulseX or PHEX or Inc., right? Our favorite 4 on Pulse Chain, that you actually get 10% more on PulseX if you bridge in DAI. Now, you might be able to get a good rate on DAI using a decentralized exchange like cow.fi. But if you're not going to buy $1 million of DAI on Coinbase, if they even offered it, because they would be charging you probably a fee to do so. So, I mean, if you're starting with Bitcoin or Ethereum, you're going to have to get the money onto Ethereum. You're going to have to get the DAI. Matcha.xyz, 1inch.io, cow.fi. These are all places you can find DAI. So you get your $1 million of DAI. You bridge it over using the same process we just showed. And you're following in the footsteps of other great whales that have come before you. So you're pretty confident in bridging using that bridge. There were 140 bridge protocols that were researched apparently by Richard Hart before he chose the Omni Bridge protocol. And, that's the one that he put his name behind. So it seems really solid. And so basically, because of the liquidity pairing on PulseX, you're going to get 10% more PulseX if you're buying with DAI compared to buying with Ethereum or with USDC. So that's a whale tip.
Whale tip for all you fish out there.
And I mean, we've seen proof on chain that giant whales watch this show. We don't always appeal to brand new people because we talk about things so in depth, but you're in good company of people who, like the real God Whale on Twitter has proven on chain that they have controlled up to $400 million worth of Ethereum at one time. So really, you're in really good company, I think. That's for sure. Let's see.
Was it 400,000 ETH or $400,000? Wasn't it 400,000 ETH?
Sorry. Yeah. So it's, I think I saw in what's that tool? Arkham Research. I think I saw that the account had topped out at 400 or $600 million worth of ETH.
Jeez,
so he had bought it 30 cents. I think he had put $200,000 or $400,000 in at that price, and then held for so many years that it was worth that much in this past bull run. Incredible. And this is somebody who had donated to our badge efforts on Twitter. So just really incredible community. You guys are, making that point. It's well taken that we have the best community in crypto. We have the most YouTubers. We rock.
I concur.
So we're still waiting for those confirmations.
Do you know
That's
one of the things I like about that is, like, if you click off of it, like on the main bridge page, there's a little hamburger icon at the top, and you can, depending on the browser, I think you might actually even see it say transactions. So you can go there and see it. So like if for some reason you've clicked off of it and you go back, then you're like, wait a minute, like I had to, I was waiting on those confirmations to come through. It'll show you a list of all your previous bridge activity, and it'll show the one at the top, and it'll tell you how many of the 96 that you have thus far. And once it's complete, it'll show you that it's complete.
Hey. So DJ La Roca is saying right now he's on Coinbase buying DAI with no fees and put $7,400 in, no fees. Rick wants us to know that the sharks are watching as well. Much appreciated.
Welcome to the sharks. Should I put my shark hat on in honor of Rick?
Let's go. So we're at 52 out of 96
Here you go.
confirmations.
Hey, can I do a little show and tell from Hex Toys? I just
What do you
got he had a thing where he was giving out free pins.
I love that.
Yeah, so I got a hex pin because I gave all mine away like at the movie premiere. So it was so cool. I was able to get a hex pin. I was able to get a new pulse pin, and I got a pulse X pin. And
That one's
one I
upside
didn't have before was the ink pin.
No
So
way.
that's pretty cool. Yeah, and
Oh,
then
man.
and then
I'm
he
so
then he
jealous.
actually he threw in a Hex Toys pin. It's kind of hard to see there, but it's his logo. And then he gave me one of those. So how cool is that? A
So
Hex
cool.
coin, which is like actually pretty heavy. So yeah,
I want
hextoys.com.
one of the. I kind of need one of those ink pins.
It's Hex
now.
Toys.
Right? Yeah, you got to get that. Hex.toys. Hex.toys. Yeah. Yeah, good stuff. So thanks. I believe it's Sid. Thank you, Sid.
Sai.
Cy. Or Cy. Thank you, Cy. And he's a big dude. I've seen pictures of that guy. He is not someone you want to cross. Cy is a big man.
Hell yeah. So let's see. Still waiting for confirmations. I know Crispy has launched something new this week.
I did, man. It's been exciting. An exciting week. Yeah, so for listeners to this show who've tuned in, you've heard me talking about my website and what my plans were. So I finally was able to bring that to fruition. You know, my dogs didn't bark the whole time we've been on. Right now,
They're
I was
excited
going to say,
too.
those aren't my dogs. That's
They're like, oh my God, we're talking about the website. Bark, bark.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the new Hexfire website is launched. Near as I can tell, almost 100% people like the format as compared to the old one. Kind of like a shout out to how I like numbers and I can do reports and stuff, but I'm not a UI designer. So that's gone really well.
To me, it looks like you stepped out of 1998 into 2020.
I was still waiting for Y2K, man. That was a thing. You probably don't know what it is, Bruce.
I do too.
So yeah,
Young
yeah. So, yeah,
whippersnapper.
that's exactly it. So I had some good support and from the community to move forward and do that. So if you go to hexfire.io today, I don't know if I should show it or not on the screen, but
Please do.
you can go there and I'll show you what we have. I guess I'll do that. Let me see if I can pull her up.
Because this is the best analytics page that we have for Hex, and Hex is one of the best cryptos in the world. So it's very
Well,
cool that you've made it so transparent.
I certainly like it. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of good stuff out here, man. We got so many tools, and what'll happen is eventually somebody replaces, what you're doing, which is fine too. All right. For some reason, it's not showing up on my list. Hold on. For some reason, suddenly, I can't find my tab. Right when you want to do something. All right. All right. So for those very few people, you can pull it up now, man. For those very few people who have used the old site and they might have liked it, you can still get to that through hexfire.info or hexfire.pro. Those are both two URLs.
Hey, ChrispyMan.
And
I just want to say I hope there becomes fighting factions over people who argue which website design is better, the new one or the old one, the E version or the P version.
Yeah. I don't think we're going to go there.
The new one's cool.
Maybe.
I was just getting used to the old one, but it's like the new one's pretty cool.
Well, yeah, and so this is a little bit more simplified. People can go there and read at their leisure, but it's a normal type of website in terms of having information about me and about my group, events that would be upcoming. I don't have any listed yet. I have a great blog section. I've really been getting into doing this because I have a number of blogs that I've written over the last year or so, and so this is just free content. Just talking about the different things that we talk about, like share rate changes and the Communis app, and achieving financial independence, that type of stuff. And so the formats come out really nicely that way. I've included the charts. All of them aren't here yet for the free section, but it's a totally different kind of format, very simplified. In the header up here, we go to charts, and you can just simply load up the chart on the screen. And this does render either mobile or desktop.
Nice.
And so the first time it loads a little slower, and plus I'm putting this across the stream here. But once we come up, here we go.
KDP was singing your praises. One of the top media people in the decentralized decentralized.
And I know she's one of the top people in our
and I noticed that
area.
after one chart loaded, the rest of them loaded really fast.
Yeah, and this will get better over time. Again, ad nauseum for the people who've heard it before. One of the reasons I'm making the move that I am is so I can access better technology. And as I access better technology, I can deliver data faster. Now, a lot of people go, wait a minute, you get all these other websites and stuff. Yes, there are websites out there that do a lot of different things. But typically what's happening, is that those websites, you're putting your addresses in, and it's getting fresh data. I'm getting all of the data, and then you can find your addresses. And so it's a slightly different approach, and so it requires different ways of handling data and sizes, and it affects things. But yeah, you're exactly right, Bruce. The first one loads, takes a little bit longer, but then you can easily just switch between eHex, PHEX. I hate to bring that topic up again. Go to another, go to another chart. Yeah, triggered much. Go to another chart and just switch back and forth between them. So I've got some of the best ones right up here. Hex rate, share rates are up here.
This is
expanded.
Really clean.
Yeah, it looks really sharp. I mean, I believe it. I had to be pushed to do this. I wasn't going to do it. So I've got that, and then along the way. So we've had these different things along the way. I've had some occasions where I've done special reports for people, that type of stuff. So I anticipate, being able to have digital downloads that people pay for and put up here. I have a few sample ones that are here now. And then I also have included something we call the exclusive member data area. And this also gets into some of the deeper stuff, and some of the stuff that I talked to you guys about. So this is where I go into more of into paid content, where people have the option to take I'd get a subscription to the website as a membership. And my intentions, and I hope that I do plan to keep them, but I mean, I'm going to continue to push more and more free stuff into the public domain. But at the same time, with some of these things, they're not scalable for me to do what I would like to do them publicly. And it's also kind of niche. Like the people, not everybody wants to go as deep as they want to go. So I guess in short, the new website's up. Come check it out. They got the new charts there, easy format to see for the public charts that are there. And if there's things missing that you want added, let me know and I'll add them in.
And the website again?
At hexfire.io.
Awesome.
And then if you are one of the people who feels like they would like, you would like to get deeper information, what I have up here are a whole collection of things, and everything's not here yet, but there's about 140 charts and charts and graphs and data in the background. So it's a lot of stuff. It's a lot of different stuff that everyone isn't necessarily interested in. But if you are interested in going deeper, you can check out one of those plans. And then I did put together a promo code for anybody who comes on this stream, watches Maddie ALLin streams. And I just called it ALLin Hex. And so I'll type that out for you, Maddie.
All right.
So if somebody makes it there and they want to go get a subscription or a membership, you can get a promo code and checkout called ALLin Hex and type it in, and what it does is gives 20% off for the first 3 months. So just a discount. So that's kind of the end of like a spiely spiel to talk about, kind of the marketing side of things. But there's a lot of cool stuff in here that I really like. I'm pretty proud of. I mean, things like you get this question all the time about annualized inflation for Hex because we're Hex users, and you know, this being able to see what the annualized inflation is. I mean, I had to go do a double check here. This is see how we had this huge drop in annualized inflation down here.
Mm.
Most recently, that's because of the Godwill staking.
Thank
You know,
you, the real Godwill.
yes, thank you. Right, because it's a calculation, but that's just one example. We have the supply analysis up here as well. Which kind of goes through and shows how hex is distributed, and again, a living kind of a being, but just kind of a storyboard here of going through and being able to say, one of the big questions we all have about our tokens, how much supply is there? What does the supply look like? You know, how much is circulating? And what does that look like? Hey, what about that OA address? What's that OA got? Well, OA seems pretty flat after the sacrifices.
Hmm.
Only going up a little. Why? Because there's only so many penalties, right? What's the stake supply look like? These types of things, and then my favorite is this one here, which looks almost nearly flat. Most people look at it and say, "Why are you showing me this, Crispy?" Well, this shows you the effect that the OA has on the system. It's a very stabilizing, effect because of the supply that it holds. So in any case, I probably lost some people just getting into this kind of detail, but these are the types of things that are behind these doors and these little windows, with the
Love
idea
it.
that over time we're going to be able to add more things, and uh, including some tailored solutions. Some people know that I do this, but we have a variety. I say we. There's only me and my buddy, but we have a variety of sites that I put up just that contain information for people. So even, and I think I mentioned to you before, we even have the Matty ALLin dashboard.
I love it.
So
Yeah, we've actually got some really important new data from Ben Sierra that is one of the best. Like, I want to get this chart tattooed on me because it's one of the most important ones in Hex. Not to steal any fire from hexfire.io.
no, not at all,
Of
dude.
course.
I watched your stream. I saw the stream. It was good.
We have confirmation from Pulse Chain that that the Ethereum has gone through. So
Oh, nice.
there will be freedom for all. And if you're watching right now and you appreciate us doing this tutorial teaching 1,480 people about how to buy Pulse Chain, show that you're a real person by hitting the like button on Twitter. And if you want to go the extra mile, you can repost or comment, but that would be greatly appreciated. So can you guys see my screen here?
We can. Yeah. Yes.
Awesome. So I can see on the bridge transactions that this wrapped Ethereum has been claimed automatically by my wallet. And I can click on my MetaMask icon here and I can see the 0.12 W ETH wrapped Ethereum showing up here in my wallet.
I'd like to say, MetaMask, you need to get on your game and show the values for the wrapped ETH.
We would love it.
And
maybe we need to get on our game and request that from them because it seems like they did our last request.
True.
Now, let me see. So I might have to hit the refresh button here to get your PulseX to realize what's happening. Unless it's connected to a different wallet. No, it is. Okay. Well, sometimes PulseX, threatens to dox me when I'm streaming live. So I'm just going to go to pateus.io which is an aggregator, it's actually going to give me better order execution. And because we do have millionaires and billionaires that watch this show from time to time, and people with $100 as well, we want everybody to get the best price. And so we can come here to app.piteas.io. And a lot of times it's going to route through PulseX. So PulseX is still serving its purpose, but Piteas is aggregating. And here I can connect.
Click that little up on top. Now go back one. See the little right to the right of that. Yeah, that little to the left of that, right in between the account and yeah, there you go. Connect.
Okay, so I'm going to click connect. Normally it would just pop up automatically. And now we're connected to this site, app.piteas.io. And now I can take my WETH. And if it's not in my MetaMask, I can click on this little button, just like we did on PulseX, and add it. And, you know, the first thing I need to swap for is Pulse, because I only have 1,000 Pulse, and sometimes transaction fees can cost that much, sometimes way less. And so maybe if I do 0.02 into Pulse, that's $70 worth. And I need to click Pulse here, and I can see that that's going to get me, it's still loading, 500,000 Pulse. So I'm going to click the swap button here. Then I'm going to click confirm, and it's going to ask permission to approve the spending of WETH. So I'm going to click next, and the transaction fee is going to be 19 PLS. I could have cranked that up, but that's kind of bad for the system in the long run. So we'll just wait the extra amount of time like a good citizen of Pulse Chain. And we're going to wait for this transaction to confirm. Oh, that was fast. So now it's going to pop up to confirm the swap. And it's popping up in my wallet here in the MetaMask extension. I'm going to click confirm. I can see that the transaction is only costing a penny. Folks, on Ethereum right now, it's costing $50 to $100 to swap. And on Pulse Chain, only a penny. Beautiful.
Thank you, Richard Hart.
Hey. And it looks like Pulse and PulseX are both experiencing a healthy dip right now, down about 11 and 12%. So it is a good time to buy. I'm glad I'm doing this tutorial now. I hope you're following along at home.
Yeah, seems like a pretty healthy pullback. So
we've gone up 300% already.
If you guys missed the wave up, here's your next opportunity.
Transaction success. So I can see 500,000 Pulse is now in my wallet. Now MetaMask is showing the wrong value there. It's showing about a third of the value. This is how you know you're early.
MetaMask.
If you were buying Bitcoin sub $1, you had to send a money order to Japan, an exchange called Mt. Gox. But here we are, you know, like we don't have to do all that, but we do have to put up with, you know, being early. And so it's showing that I have $21 of Pulse, but I can go back here on Piteas and I can click Pulse.
I also just want to say, you know, we're using MetaMask right now, but we do have a native Pulse Chain wallet built for Pulse Chain, and it's called the Internet Money Wallet. And
I don't want to confuse like all the millions and billions of whales that they're just looking for one way to get in. And it's the most like beaten path is the one that the majority of people will use, who, you know, are stumbling upon this, and then people can branch out from there once they want the beauty of being able to see the prices. They might assess the risks, but not everybody has time. If you're out there making $1 million and $1 billion in a year, you might not have time to like vet internet money, and you just want to use what all the other billionaires are using right now.
You don't have to vet internet money because I already have.
Beautiful. Now, All right, just to be fair, now I think I should swap the rest of this WETH for a little bit of everything we like here. So we got PulseX. We can do 0.02, $70 of that. And so on and so forth. So again, I'm just hitting the swap button. I'm hitting
Does
confirm
PulseX
swap.
have a new logo? Was it always black with that green circle around it?
It's looking pretty sharp.
Yeah, I feel like it was different before.
Did you add that to your token list?
So I'm going to do that now. Great point.
Okay, cool.
So the transaction has been submitted. I can see it's pending, but I'm going to go down here and click on the Fox. So it pops up in my MetaMask to add PulseX. The balance isn't showing because the swap isn't confirmed yet, but it's working. It's going.
Yeah, that's
And that
one
right
of the
there.
that's one of the first questions I get from people as I'm onboarding. There's thousands of tokens on Pulse Chain and Ethereum, so it's the default is just going to show you on the Ethereum side Ethereum, and on the Pulse side it's going to show Pulse, the native token. So if there's any tokens that are in your wallet, you're going to have to add those and import that token, so to speak, on MetaMask. And this is a little shortcut to doing that by pressing the little MetaMask head. It'll go ahead and add that logo and that token to your token list. So if you own any of that, it will show in your wallet. But don't fret not if you don't see it in your token list. You may have just not added the icon to see your balance.
That's right. Rest easy. And so here we're swapping into PHEX, another 2% of an Ethereum. Maybe someday I'll be able to swap back for way more Ethereum. Okay, and you can see it popped up, I think, a second time. Sometimes Pateus does that. It's a little bit confusing, but I can close out because this trade is already pending. Sometimes it wants you to double down. So now
There it goes.
Now we've got 4,400 PHEX in our token list here. We have 500,000 Pulse. We have 1.3 million Pulse X. Now, what's the last thing we need?
Well, you need some hex from Ethereum, and you need some ink.
Okay, fine.
Unless you want to spend ETH. Unless you want to spend ETH on it and buy it on the ETH chain.
No, thank you.
Exactly.
All right, for Tobiwan, Brisology is outraged, but we're going to buy a little bit of EHEX.
Well,
I like all hexes.
Like I said earlier, don't go chasing those green candles. That might be a good way to kind of shake people out of their lower positions. You know what I mean? Like if you're buying ink after it did 13x, if you're trading your PulseX that hasn't even reached SAC rate for something that just went to like 13x, you're probably doing it wrong. Maybe.
Right.
Well,
not financial advice. Just saying, hey.
All right, fine. I'll listen to the voice of reason. I will not put the other 50%.
You can buy a little bit. I mean, you got to have some exposure to them all, right?
Oh, I'm doing equal of ink, but then okay, cool. I might double back on PulseX or
Did you
Pulse.
say inkwell of ink?
Yeah, we're getting 13 ink in the mix here, people.
Nice.
Retirement money right there.
No. Never know.
You see 13 ink, I see $13,000.
Now, I know that you guys can't see it, but I have been looking off to the right here at my other screen and checking the charts. All of these assets that he's purchasing right now are at good support. So, to me, these are buying areas, not financial advice.
Cool. Just a tutorial. And yeah, so after this confirms, sometimes it takes a little bit longer. Sometimes transactions get stuck, but typically not. And yeah, then I'm going to definitely disperse of the rest of my wrapped ETH and buy some more Pulse because that's down the most. I really like PulseX as well. I don't know. Maybe I'll get some more PulseX instead.
I think PulseX is great.
There it goes.
Believe it or not, even Inc. is at a level of support. And I will go into those charts in more detail on What the Hex on Thursday.
Love it. There are so many great shows and so many great streamers. You can find a lot of them by going to, on Twitter, you can go to Hex Conference, the handle Hex Conference on Twitter, or you can go to Pulse Chain Conf, and you can go and see who that account is following. And it's 50 or 100 different people who have a logo next to their name. Okay. All right. Fine. PulseX. PulseX it is. Wait. Got that backwards. I'm showing my true colors here, people. I'm going strong on PulseX. All right.
I think that's the move. I think PulseX is going to pump super hard, but I just got a feeling it's going to be the last to pump. Just because there were so many people that sacrificed for PulseX, and a lot of them were kind of negative players. They're just like, look, I'm gonna, they saw the Pulse chain sacrifice, and now they're like, you know what, I don't want to miss out on this one, and I'm gonna sell on a double, and I'm gonna flip them off as I do it. So I really believe the other coins like Ink, and then probably PHEX, and probably even EHEX, they're all going to pump for PulseX, in my opinion. It's just an opinion, though.
I dig it. And of course, with one of the protocols that's launching tonight, the Earn protocol is, theoretically something that can help PulseX, just like Liquid Loans helped Pulse, because it apparently allows people to, I'm asking this as a question, does it allow people to mint a stablecoin based on locking up their PulseX?
I believe that's what it is, yeah.
How cool is that?
Super cool. Because, allows people to exit the system without selling down their PulseX bags and killing the price.
Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, that's awesome.
And we can generate, stability for the coin.
I dig it.
Or for the system.
Woohoo.
Well done.
Awesome. So now everybody knows how to buy Pulse Chain and everything else we like on pulsechain.com. And so hopefully that's been helpful. Now
way to seize the moment.
Hey, I've got I mean, obviously you do what you want. This is your bag. Would you dare take a small amount of that PulseX and pair it with Ink and enter that liquidity pool just to see how it plays out between now and next week?
Yeah, LP.
It could be a next level tutorial if someone did want to take a small portion of their bag and LP, like we talked about at the top of the show.
I mean, it wouldn't be that expensive,
right?
In terms of gas fees, because everything's like a penny on Pulse Chain.
And you'd be earning Ink from the farm.
Earning Ink, you say?
Yeah, by putting some in the PulseX Ink farm.
Yeah, farm a Pulse to PulseX farm.
Yeah.
I mean, there's what do you think, Crispy?
Which farm would you get in, if any at all?
Peer pressure
with this with the example wallet. What would you suggest? It'd be fun to check back on next week.
I do tests all the time, so I could see doing a test like that to see what happens.
Yeah.
All right. So well, you guys talked me into it live.
Yeah.
F it, we'll do it live.
Consensus.
All right.
Hey, so with that, Maddie, I'm going to drop off because I got to go make some final arrangements.
Right on. Yeah. See you in Vegas. Thanks for coming on.
We'll see
Good to see you, Crispy.
Yeah, I hope you make it. I hope you make it.
I hope so too, man. I hope I get to hang out with you guys in real life. It'd be fun.
Yeah.
You know, my ultimate dream though in addition to you arriving, Toby, would
Aw.
be for Briz to decide he was going to come.
Dude, Briz is fun, man. It's like I met Briz in Vegas. We had a good time.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, guys. See you later.
See ya.
All right,
Take care.
Stay crispy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Everybody
Don't
stay
get
crispy.
soggy.
Stay crispy.
All right, guys, walk me through it. Like,
Okay, so
like I'm
what you
5
want
years
to do?
old.
What you want to do is up there where it says trade.
Earn.
Click on that, and then go to liquidity,
Oh, my bad.
and then go to V1.
I'm on
Well,
the
maybe
wrong
you want to
wallet.
look at the
On the wrong
pools
one, yeah.
first. Just show them the pools so you know which one you're going to jump into.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think we were suggesting the Pulse X Inc. pool, but it could be whichever.
So I would,
So if you go to
I would
earn-
click on the earn tab real quick.
Yeah, go to earn and then farms, and then you can scroll down through. I like the other view. Like there's a list view, and then there's like a table view.
I call it the Monopoly card view.
There you go. I like those better. So you can kind of go down
Oh.
through there and see which ones that you want to participate in. You have Hex and Pulse, so you can participate in that. You
Amazing
have,
rates.
30.
You don't have any stables, so you don't have any of those to fool with. But you could scroll down to the bottom, and those are the Inc pairs. So that's Pulse X Inc. and Pulse Inc., which are both paying around 54, 55%. So those are pretty good.
I'll do it with the Pulse X.
I like the Pulse X Inc. one because I feel like they're going to move together, and there's a lot of upside for both still. So even if Inc. pulls back, you just end up with more of it.
So do I click enable contract?
Yes,
Yep.
that'll be one of the steps. You can do
You can
that
see there's
now.
$43 million in there already for liquidity, which
Yes.
that blows my mind. I think that's
It's crazy.
Welcome
isn't
to
it?
the party. It says could not be found.
Might want to refresh the page. That happens occasionally,
Okay.
especially if you toggle back and forth between wallets. Try that again.
Enable contract.
There you
Spending
go.
cap for PLP.
Yep.
Approved.
And PLP, for people that might not be aware, that's the LP token that you receive when you provide liquidity, and that's what you're actually staking is that PLP token.
Now you
So
want
he's enabled the contract. So if you go over
click
to the
details.
if you go, yeah, you can go down to
Failed.
details. That's kind of fun. Did it fail
Oh,
again?
no,
Yeah.
what's going on?
Did
Did it
this is
enable
live,
it or-
baby. This is what happens when you're doing stuff
No,
live.
it didn't enable it. You gotta
Maybe I should
enable it.
relaunch the
Yeah, might want to relaunch
and
from
close out of
Pulse
this
Chain.
other stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm back at app.pulsex.com. I'm clicking on the IPFS link to my pinata.
Going
I'm
to
confirming that the right wallet is active. It is, ending in 008. I'm going to
Farms.
liquidity.
Nope.
No,
Go to
I'm
earn
going
and farms
to
first.
earn
Farms,
and
and we'll try to
farms.
enable that contract first
Okay,
because the rest is moved. Oh, it did.
Oh.
It worked.
it worked.
Yep.
Cool.
So it's
Now you
enabled.
can click on
Beautiful.
details
Yeah, if you click on
Okay.
the drop down.
and click on get LP. Yeah,
Now,
right there.
this doesn't work all the time, which you will see live if it works or not. Oh, it did. Perfect. Okay, cool. On my browser, it doesn't go there sometimes. Maybe they fixed that. But yeah, so it takes you right to the LP in question that
now,
you want to be adding
Toby,
to. Yes, sir.
Should what there's I see a V1 and V2. Can you explain those to me?
V1 is the only version of the Pulse X that you can farm on. V2, if you're providing liquidity there, you will only be doing your run-of-the-mill liquidity providing, and you will earn a small portion of the trading fees in and out of that pair, which is negligible. So if you're wanting to participate in the farms, you're going to want to make sure that you're on V1 and that you've chosen the 2 tokens in question.
So V1 earns ink and V2 doesn't,
Right.
but V2 earns trading fees and V1 doesn't.
Correct.
And I clicked on the balance of ink because I know I have less than
Yes.
PulseX, and it needs to be equal amounts of dollar value. So
Yep.
that
50,
auto loaded $69 in both, and then I clicked enable PLSX,
Yep.
basically so the site can spend it, and then that's pending. And is it going to let me enable ink? I'm clicking that button as well. Because there's no swap happening, so I don't care
Right.
if it gets stuck for a second. So I have 2 transactions pending there to approve these to be spent on the liquidity providing page.
Yep, and then if you go back to earn into the farms, or well, no, we still have to do supply. Never mind. Yeah, we have to wait for that to complete, and then you'll actually do the supply because we just enabled the ability for those tokens to be utilized. And then once that's complete, and sometimes you have to refresh the page or kicked up. Okay, so enable PLSX. It's asking you to do that again. I would refresh because you had actually already done that step. Yeah. And then it should. Oh, it's still asking you to enable PLSXX. PLSX. It's still pending. It's still pending. There we go. Now refresh, and then it should allow you to supply. The only thing I can think that might be of issue there is if the amount of PLSX changed slightly, and when you approved it, it's not the full amount. I thought I did max. I thought you did too.
Yeah, to be honest, I've never had any issues enabling these contracts or providing LP. This is the first time I've seen it.
I've done it a ton, and there have been times when I've had to enable more than once. So I don't think it's entirely out of the question that you would need to enable that again.
Okay, I'll try it again.
Yeah. Oh, and it wasn't the max. It defaulted to the amount that's in the swap or in the adding of the liquidity. So you actually have to pick max.
Oh, with all the decimals on the end. Okay, that explains it.
So that might have been the issue. Now that'll pop up sometimes too, which is confusing. But if you just refresh that page again, then that'll go away. And it's confirmed, and then try it again. Okay, now here's what I want you to do this time carefully. Hit enable PLSX.
There.
Oh no! Now it is. Okay, we're grooving.
So what I did is I deleted some decimals so it would decrease the amount of PulseX, so it wasn't a higher amount than what's already been enabled.
Exactly. Bingo. Right.
And so then now I can click supply
and confirm that supply, and that tells you how many PLS or PLP tokens that you'll get, which are representative of your portion of the liquidity pool.
I got a question about those PLP tokens. How are those? Because I look at one pool and I got like 12 tokens. I look at another pool and I got like 43 billion of them.
It's relative to the proportion of the pool that you're in, right?
Yeah,
so it's like this
like,
it's probably whoever starts it generates a random value.
Yeah,
I'm gonna add PLP to MetaMask so I don't lose this.
Yep. So you'll see it, but then once you stake it, that'll go to 0. It's kind of like when you stake your hex; it's no longer visible in your wallet. So like once that supply is completed, that will show in your wallet.
Okay, so it's like trying to show down here where the screen won't go.
Go up to scroll back to the top and go to earn and farms. And if everything went as we intended, if you scroll down, then you should be able to stake LP.
Yeah, so click that.
And then hit max, and that will take all of your PLP tokens. So there's the 4,208 PLP tokens that you got by providing liquidity, and you're going to stake that. And then it shows you that your ROI annually on that is currently going to be $97 based on the current price of ink.
Let's go.
So once that's confirmed, a thing that I like to do is, and you can click off of that for that window to go away. There you go, that top window. Now, right next to where it says 53.12%, there's a little calculator icon. Yeah, if you click on that calculator icon, what you can do is you can go over and click 1 day. And then you don't have a balance there yet, so we might have to refresh the page for your balance to come out. No, there it is. Now it's well, hit my balance. Click my balance. Now that's how much you have in LP. So you put in $139 because you had $69 on both sides, right? So what it's showing you is you're going to earn approximately 20 cents a day in ink at the current rate.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go, baby.
So we'll see next Tuesday kind of how this is played out. We know what you started.
7 days from now, I should have 0.269 ink for free.
For free. And then if you look back at the ink PulseX pair behind that window, if you click off of it again, that top window, you should be able to see what you have in it. Like, so there's $139.44, and currently your two halves of the LP are 13.18 ink and 1.345 million PLSX. So I would make note of that, and then you can figure out also what your impermanent loss may or may not have been, right? So
right.
if your ink quantity goes up or down, and vice versa with the PLSX, and versus your yield. So it'll be kind of a fun little extra credit tutorial add-on to your basic 101 of how to get in. So we went extra deep.
We just taught 1,600 people how to earn ink for free. It doesn't get much better than that, huh?
Go
And
ink.
by-
it's in the thumbnail. Right?
And by providing that LP, you guys are making PulseX and Pulse Chain more robust. You're giving people the opportunity to get into it as well as out of it. And it's just good all around,
I concur.
I dig it.
Cool. Good stuff.
Man, Maddie, you got 1,600 people here. That is amazing. Could you imagine having that many people in the classroom all watching you at the very
Like a
front?
stadium of people.
Yeah, right.
I think, we must have hit something perfectly on Twitter, and that's where all the views are coming from. I'm not sure if it was me having a hex badge next to my name, or the title of the stream, or they changed the algorithm and they're just pushing live to everybody all of a sudden. But we welcome the viewers. We appreciate when you hit the like and repost.
I think they
It's all
came
good.
because Toby's here.
I'm back, baby. That's right. I came
It's
back
you
after my
guys.
hiatus. So.
Of course.
Game Theory Gang's always good stuff. So happy to have all the new viewers. Hope to see you again next week. Always trying to bring some good education. Hex, what the Hex on Thursdays is more infotainment. We refer to that as. So it's a lot.
That's
of
a great
more,
show.
It's more goofiness. We have some good information too. But this one is like where you really get the good stuff, in my opinion, as far as like really getting your learn on. Game Theory Gang, happy to be a part of it always.
So the animal, the Bestican says, "You pesky kids are gonna ruin my farm."
Yeah,
And
right.
you know what, Maddie? You just took a little bit of ink from everybody else,
Stay away from
making
the
it
yield. Stay
that
away from
much
my
more
yield.
scarce. And now the animal has to wait that much longer to sell. And I believe that is what's going to cause the price of ink to go to $1,000.
I dig it. Thanks for
my
showing me the
opinion.
rope, guys. It's been a while since I was in the Bitcoin farm.
You'll have to get a straw hat and a hayseed next time because you're a farmer now, right?
That's right.
I really like the idea of farming. I think it's so cool that if you have capital, you can put it out there for others to buy and sell, and you will get either trading fees or, in this case, farming rewards from ink. And I don't know why, but for some reason I just think that's just such a cool concept, and I think these concepts are going to be evolving. Fast Abdul says he can show us how to farm the big boy way later on. This is this is like how you get your foot into the water, and I like farming. I think it's actually pretty cool.
Yep. And the thing is too is like we talked about this a little bit in those clips that I put out from the F and Hangout from Friday. Everything. I mean, for me personally, it's like there's a level of trust in all of this stuff, right? And it's kind of remarkable that crypto works at all. But for me, if it's an RH system thing, I just have a higher level of confidence in it than all these other ancillary projects, because all of those introduce counterparty risks. And Richard Hart has a great track record with eHex. 4+ years of flawless uptime. Doing exactly what it's supposed to do. No admin keys. Trustless yield. All the things that we know so well. So if I'm going to participate in a farm, I feel a little more confident doing that on PulseX than I do on other platforms. However, I do participate in some of those others as well, but to a much lesser degree. So, as always, do your own research. Don't listen to a bunch of talking heads on the internet for all of your information. Dig deep, read and learn. And then, maybe you can contribute
Toby,
via chat
can
or come
you-
on as a guest sometime.
Can you help explain what happens if the price goes up on one side? or
Yes,
down?
and now what's interesting to me is because there was a significant increase. I was talking about this, I can't remember where the other day, but when we had that big pump in all the Pulse stuff a while back, and I was in a stable pair, right? So I'm thinking, oh damn, it's like I just probably lost a ton of my Pulse because we had this big giant move on Pulse, and it was not as big of a slosh as I thought. And what I mean by slosh is basically, if you start off with equal amounts on both sides, just like Maddie showed, $69 worth, which was interesting that it turned out to be $69. I just thought of that. So, 369 is a magic number in Hex. So $69 on each side. So that's the dollar value of what's there. And then you have however many number of tokens it is to equal that, right? So you had, 13 point whatever it was ink and 1.345 million PulseX. So what will occur is if ink starts to go up, effectively what will happen is the ink will be sold for more PulseX. So you'll end up with more of the thing that costs less. If they both go up, then you're experiencing actually, I don't know if this is a real term, but it's like impermanent gain, right? Because both things are going up. And if the converse is true and you have PulseX going up in price, then you will sell out of PulseX and you will end up with more ink. So you always end up with more of the thing that is going up less fast or that's going down. The big risk is if both things are going down, or if you're not a fan of both sides of it. Ink and PulseX, obviously we're fans of both of those things. So for me personally, I don't mind if I end up with more than one than the other than I started with. Plus I'm earning yield over time to offset that. So that's kind of the whole idea behind yield farming, is that the yield that you're earning should offset any potential impermanent loss. So when you hear people talk about impermanent loss, they're comparing the difference between you being in that pool and potentially ending up with less of a thing and more of the thing that's worth less money, as compared to just holding both of those things liquid. Whereas you would be realizing all of those gains in that thing and not losing it in the sloshing of the pool back and forth.
So let's
hopefully that makes
demonstrate the not losing part,
Sure.
because you guys, I've decided to do something very extreme
Uh-oh.
live.
Do
I
it.
went to timepays.me. I created a vault. I transferred my PulseX 2.3 million into the vault. Now I have to decide how long I want to lock it for, effectively
Sweet.
sending it to my future self and protecting myself from myself. Now I can choose the lock mode normal, which is a drip, hard lock, which is no drip, or behavioral lock, which we'll get into another time. So I'm going to choose normal so that it drips back to me over time. And what should the end date be? What year? Let's go. Is the band still going to be together in a year from now on March 6th?
I think so.
Hell yeah.
I think so. Yeah,
March
yours
4th.
are good.
All
You're
right.
stuck
yours-
with me for 15 years, buddy.
And we got to set the time to be like closer to when the show starts.
Yeah, awesome.
Let's go maybe half an hour into the show. All right.
Cool.
And let's see. From the label has to be like only so many characters. I'm going to say from GTG number 102.
102. Nice. Sweet. That's cool. So that'll be something else to keep an eye on into the future.
And, this could pay me out every week if PulseX did massive gains. I'm not locking it up for the whole year like a hard lock. I'm releasing it to myself over time.
So how does that drip out? Does it tell you the frequency? Is it weekly, or how does it drip?
You can request a drip every week, and
It's a great feature.
it's a linear unlock. So it's just accruing over time. So if I waited 8 days, then I could request the 8 days balance.
Got it.
And then I have to wait 7 days from that point in order for it to unlock, because I want to be able to undo a hack.
The Texan boys came up with the term for it. They call it a scraping ladder.
In this case, you're not earning any yield. You're just dripping back to yourself.
Well,
That's
maybe scraping off the top layer.
It's a slip and
There we
slide.
go. It confirmed finally.
Nice.
And so I'm waiting for it to show up here on the dashboard.
Excellent. So tons of useful information here today. I like it.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. Now it's popping up. So I can see under my locks, it's going to load and it's going to show me the statistics for this particular lock.
There it is.
There we go. So we have
Very cool.
2.3 million pulsex, withdrawn to date 0, locked today's date, unlocked date. The estimated drip that's accrued so far usually shows up after a few minutes. And then here's the tag from Game Theory Gang number 102. And I can
Sweet.
hit initiate drip once there's like a fraction of a pulsex in there.
That's cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Good
and
stuff.
then
That's
very cool. I'm glad
I
you
could
walked
go
us
up
through that.
here. Yeah, thanks. And I could go up here and I could add a second seed phrase. That's what the banner at the top is telling me. I could assign a recovery address, and there are steps to do that on x.com/timepaysme. You can go through the tutorial of how to be able to undo a hack by setting up your second seed phrase ahead of time. So that's what's pinned here, is the instructions on how to go through the screens, and you can see the audit and how to set up the recovery address. So there you go.
This is an extremely valuable tool
Absolutely.
that the whole community, should definitely know about, and hopefully they can utilize it in a way that's, smart for their use case. But
Yeah, thanks.
I think this is such a cool tool. I mean, this is like, in my opinion, I think the real use case of this is the hacker firewall.
Oh man. Yeah, that's huge. Huge.
So, yeah, I really like it. I think that's you're doing a really great thing for the community with that.
Well, and it
Appreciate it.
it reinforces what we've all learned from Richard Hart, which is the delayed gratification piece. This gives you another tool to do that. So you're saving yourself from yourself, so to speak. So you don't get antsy and want to try to dump on a pump, or bail on a dip. You're locked in for a period of time. So it's kind of it forces you to reap the benefits of delayed gratification. So
Yeah, it's exactly like a continuous ladder, basically.
Yep.
And you can choose any duration from, 1 second basically until 55 years, and then you have to wait a week for the withdraw to come out. So
And
it's all
remember-
self custody. It's because nothing like this has ever existed before. It's not obvious that there's no middleman involved. You're holding your own smart contract that you issued to yourself, that you're securing with your seed words, and the smart contract is just basically adding locking rules that you're choosing. You're setting your own terms. So that's what's very cool about it.
True
And remember,
DeFi.
you're not a real Polsican unless you lock up your money 55 years. Clip it. You heard it here.
I would be
With
like
that being
120,
said-
bro.
Where can people find you guys?
I'm primarily here on Tuesday nights. Occasionally I'll pop in on other people's streams. I've been frequenting DJ Cryptomatic and Papa's streams on Thursdays at 2:45 p.m. I've just come on for the last 15 minutes of What the Hex on Thursdays. It's Eastern Standard Time. And then on Twitter, now it's X, at Tobiwan_Hexobi. So always a pleasure, guys. Happy to be back.
Awesome.
You can find me at the local cafe at 7 a.m. on First Street. That's where you mean Twitter. You can find me at Brisology on Twitter.
He's a great follow.
Yeah.
Awesome. And I really appreciate you guys being a part of the show. As always, Now, what are we looking forward to? There's this Pulse Chain Tour event that's happening in Las Vegas over the next 3 or 4 days. So really excited to be able to meet up with everybody. We do our weekly show here every Tuesday and Thursday night, going for 170 something weeks continuously. And then we're also looking forward to the pulsechainconference.com. That's going to be coming up May 10th through 13th. And the info to be able to sign up to be a speaker is going to be coming out soon. So really excited for all that. I will be live streaming from Vegas for my normal my normal Thursday night show. So I'll probably have a special guest. And yeah, really looking forward to it. Thank you to Twitter, Elon Musk, YouTube. You all are great. And let me see. I got to queue up the ending image here
The outro.
because we have such a good thumbnail. It went viral.
Just want to say, hey, thank you for everyone that tuned in. There's a whole bunch
Absolutely.
of you guys. I'm sure there's a bunch of you that are new and come check us out. We're here every week. This time,
Yeah,
every Tuesday.
Welcome.
appreciate you all. And
Come on in. The water's fine.
all right. Until next time, stake wisely, my friends. Buy Pulse Chain, and catch you later.
Nice. Dude, we packed in some education.
Yeah.